Local legend says that these fish tacos, or Peruvian fat suckers, they harvest the fat of like lone travelers, and then they use that fat for industrial purposes, which is weird, like greasing machinery,
What?
cosmetics, or pharmaceuticals.
There's got to be an easier. Go to the store. You
No,
can buy grease.
there's nothing like human fat for grease.
Welcome to the Conspiracy Kitchen.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us in the Conspiracy Kitchen, where we attempt to find the secret ingredients behind life's daily mysteries. I'm Joe, and my sous chef is Joshua.
Hi, kids.
And actually, before we get into the special on the menu today, I left something out from the Dyatlov Pass incident that I think we should have brought up, and we kind of forgot about it.
A couple leftovers.
Little leftovers left. We can take them out, heat them up, and give them out. So there's two things that I should have brought up, didn't bring up, forgot about bringing up, that don't make sense to me, or are kind of weird, kind of fuel the conspiracies. One is that Yuri Yudin somehow died in 2013, the same year that movie, that awesome movie, was released to the public. And then second, Yuri Yudin was basically imprisoned in a psych ward for the rest of his life from 1959 to 2013 after the incident happened. So that's just a little odd to me.
So you mean to tell me that movie was actually completely factual?
Yeah, not all factual, just somewhat factual.
It doesn't make sense to me because, like, wouldn't he? It happened so long ago. What is it, 59?
1959.
You mean to tell me he wasn't feeling better at all?
No,
He had to be in the psych ward?
his whole life. He was imprisoned. See, what happened was Simon came back and was like, you know what? Sorry, bro. We had our fun, but
I bet
There's
they
an-
did.
there's a new Yuri in town, and you're gone.
Which is heartbreaking
Yeah,
because their love story is unmatched.
yeah, 100%.
It's completely not based in fact at all, but I like to think they loved each other deeply until he was thrown in that psych ward.
Yeah, the love story that we literally just made up last recording on the spot without any evidence of it at all.
Look, I paint a beautiful picture.
But it's what happened. We know it's what happened. Those were the secret ingredients. So
Yeah. It's the only logical explanation aside from aliens.
exactly. All right. So let's get our special out today. Special in the menu. I think we're gonna go down to south of the border and then continue to go south, and we're gonna go to Chile, and we're gonna go to these sodium nitrate mines that were established in the 1800s, and we'll start with La Noria in Chile, which was the oldest one, and it has a lot going on, a ton of stuff. And I guess just a shout out, my wife was the one that kind of brought this to our attention and did a little bit, of legwork of research for us to get us information, so we didn't have to do as much in between work and family and other things, so we could have a little bit more time. So we'll start out with this place. La Noria was established in 1826 when they needed nitrate for basically farming fertilizers and explosives. It was also used with. So once you were basically employed there, your whole family had to go. You were done. So your whole family went to this mine in the middle of the desert. There's this one, and then there's Humberstone, which is a separate, like, sister town to the south of it. Your whole family went there. Your kids went to school there and worked there. Your wife did housekeeping there and worked there. And then you also worked there all day in the brutal sun. Barely any shade because it's a desert. I'm assuming it's hot, extremely hot. So working conditions horrible. So people, you could imagine, just died left and right. Death was probably very common between, again, heat stroke disease and just like poor safety of, I'm guessing, 1800s mining equipment. So I'm guessing you're losing limbs and just dying in all kinds of different ways possible. From this point, both towns mined this nitrate and started exporting them to Europe. So it became a huge export to the port city of Iquique, which was to the west on the coast of Chile, on the Pacific Ocean. So more of these saltpeter mines, they call them, or sodium nitrate. Josh doesn't like the word saltpeter, so we'll use sodium nitrate.
It's the most annoying word. It's next to moist. I hate that word.
He doesn't like it. So with all these harsh environment, then you have more of these towns going up, put more strain on these towns for these people to work harder. Money wasn't coming in as much because you have a lot more competition now. So that forces the bosses to kind of crack down on them. And these towns were also like so there were schools there was hospitals, there was like local government. But the workers, were treated obviously very, very terribly. The bosses probably made off well. Moving forward, this Noria had a fire in 1901, which almost bankrupted the whole place. Pretty much did it in. Then World War I happened. Germany, I guess, fucked everything up for these people and made a synthetic sodium nitrate, which basically put them all out of business. They were fucked. So by that time, they basically just abandoned the place. But when you have all this death and all this destruction from the sun and people getting killed everywhere, there had to have been a gravesite. So there's a La Noria just to the north, up the mountains. If you're standing in the city, or town, really, you'll see these big iron gates with some crosses on it. You go up there, look through the gates, and there's a ton of crosses with shallow graves. I'm talking about these graves are probably a foot deep, maybe. So if you go in present day, you go there, places in ruins from sun beating down on it. You go to the cemetery. Well, to go there anyway, especially La Noria, Humberstone is a museum. You can go there. There's tours and stuff. There's a haunted hospital there you can get to see, which we'll get into later with the paranormal side. That place is easy to get to. La Noria is very desolate. The way to get to it is kind of blocked off. It's about a 5-kilometer walk through the desert in the heat. So if you do want to see it, you're going to need to be prepared for harsh conditions just to get there. So when you get to the cemetery, between the heat and everything else, a lot of these wooden caskets are broken open with the remains inside exposed. Now, there's 2 theories for it, from what I understand. One would be grave robbers. They were breaking into these graves to try to find valuables left on the bodies that were buried. And the second one is what the locals say, which would be zombies. Josh, you know anything about these zombie sightings that these locals have been seeing?
I've read a decent amount. A lot of it is just, it's always the same thing. It's people just outside of the town. They wait till after dark because they've heard about, sightings. So they wait and they watch, and they all say the same thing. We saw people rise up out of the graves and walk back into the town and just kind of wander around.
They don't eat brains?
There's nothing out there. It's a desert.
They don't eat brains at all. Okay, there's nothing out there.
I mean, I suppose the people watching were to walk into the town, maybe they'd be a bit fucked. But there was one I was reading. The guy's name was like Stephen Wayward, something like that. He was with a small group, and they were, out that way, zombie sighting. And he said that they posted up, a couple yards outside of the town, and they watched, and they did see people walking around in there kind of aimlessly in the dark. And it's also important to note that he was also on a high amount of mushrooms at the time. So I don't know how factual that would be. But yeah, that's the majority of the stories is people just watching from outside the town saying that they're seeing people walking around.
All right, so for you, these, caskets being opened with exposed remnants and stuff. Do you think it's grave robbers or you think it's zombies?
I Look, I'm gonna have to say grave robbers because I'm not a complete asshole. But when I was reading up on like the shallow graves and all that, not all of them were super shallow. A lot of it is because when you bury something in the desert and it's that dry, sometimes the ground just like pushes shit out of it. It like
Okay.
it just doesn't sit.
Okay.
So like bodies come popping out all the time if it's in the desert.
Yeah, because this is in the Atacama Desert. So I guess it could be not even that they were shallow. They were pushed out, but there were so many buried in there. I think they were buried on top of each other.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're not to say that there wasn't any. The majority of them were shallow. Like some of them, not even buried. Like you just see, they carried the box with the body up the hill and just kind of forgot about it and didn't put it in the ground.
Death was very common, very common in this area.
Dropping left and right.
And I'm talking about not just the adult male workers. I'm talking about kids, their wives, just left and right. Just horrible conditions. I don't know why anyone would want to even go here and freaking work.
I don't even think the money couldn't have even been that good.
Nah, especially in the 1800s. I don't know. And if you're mining for saltpeter, the sodium nitrate.
Thank you.
The money probably wasn't that great, but so it probably wasn't. I mean, you could still see the remnants of the bones in there, so I mean, those bones are not, I guess, getting up. So the zombies part, I think they're mistaking them for something else. Being in this harsh environment, there's probably not a lot of animals out there either. So I don't think it was animals wrapping. I think it was some kind of grave robbers probably getting in those caskets, opening them up, just making sure there was no valuables left behind to steal off them because they're scumbags. And probably not. But there is something else that they brought up to go with the cryptids besides zombies, and that's the peach taco.
What?
The peach taco.
Fish taco?
The peach taco. Coming from the word piste, which means to behead or cut the throat. So these things, or they're also known as the Peruvian fat sucker, and this part is pretty close to the Peruvian border to the north. It was said to be this, cryptid type person, whatever. It was usually depicted to be very pale skinned with a beard, and that they would roam, especially at night. They would go after adults of good health. They really wouldn't go after kids. They really wouldn't go after elderly. It was always, someone with good health. And what they would do is, apparently, they would attack you at night, sometimes during the day, but mostly at night, and they would suck your fat out. Just suck the fat out of your body. I guess and that would kill you. Fat, you just turn into like a little mush ball of skeleton. But the thing is that, I mean, it's kind of weird to me.
Is it?
These fish tacos, besides, and it's weirder than just sucking their fat out. Local legend says that these fish tacos, the Peruvian fat suckers, they harvest the fat of like lone travelers, and then apparently they use that fat for industrial purposes, which is weird, like greasing machinery, cosmetics, or pharmaceuticals.
There's got to be an easier. Go to the store.
No.
You can buy grease.
There's nothing like human fat for grease.
There is, though. You get dielectric grease, you're fine.
Are you saying there's human fat isn't good?
That's why would... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. It couldn't be less convenient. It's like, oh, can we go to the store and load up on grease before we get back to the job? Said, nah, let's kill a few people and suck their fat out. That'll be quicker. Fuck's sake.
So there's things kind of saying like maybe people in the area were kind of making up this fish taco to kind of to instill fear in people, to make them stay in their communities and not leave and go wandering by themselves. Kind of like a a Krampus for Christmas type thing to make kids be good. But it has a lot of it has real world influence on groups of people. There's so like say foreign aid programs have come down from richer countries to try to provide food and stuff. Well, these communities believe that because usually like Americans or some kind of Europeans to do it think that they're part of the fish taco activities, and they're trying to give them food to fatten them up.
Ugh.
To make so that the fish taco can then come down and suck their fat out after they're fattened up, like plumping up like a nice turkey, so you can have a nice big turkey for Thanksgiving. So they would actually reject aid in certain communities down here and around this area because they're afraid of the fish taco.
Now, here's where I get annoyed. Two reasons I hate this. One, because it's described that there's not just one, but there's multiple fish tacos. And two, the fact that they're described pale, bearded, basically looking exactly like myself.
Are you a fish taco?
No.
It's you.
It's maybe, well, it's neither here nor there. But that's fucking. Ugh. You think parents told their fat kids bedtime stories like, oh, make sure not to eat all the sweets. The fish taco is gonna come for your belly fat. Good
when
night.
Because remember, it doesn't really go after kids.
That's
it went after
true.
usually adults that weren't too old, not seniors, not children, just like I guess plumped up adults.
Yeah,
just to kind of get that good fat.
Yeah, to grease up machinery or whatever.
To make the pharmaceuticals, because Big Pharma is involved.
Oh, Big Pharma's in on fish taco?
Could be.
See, folks, it all ties together.
It really does. So, besides fish taco, you don't think that's real?
You know what? I'd say to an extent. Because it's not super outside of the realm of possibility, but it is stupid. So,
but I mean, there could be someone down there in the saltpeter mines wanting to harvest fat, and it could be just some scumbag with some kind of weird fat fetish, and he is actually someone that is down there doing this. It could be a real thing. I mean, I don't think they have like this tube that comes out of their mouth and like latches on. No possibility. You ever see Supernatural?
Yeah.
There's an episode of Supernatural with the fish taco in it. Remember, they're at the some kind of spa. I don't know if you remember that episode.
Oh my god, yeah.
And the woman, she's putting the cups on your back, the hot cups to pull the skin up for react, and they're like falling asleep, and then she's like, and she takes her little fucking thing out and starts sucking the fat out of them. Yeah,
so ridiculous.
The fish taco.
I'm looking at a picture of it right now, and her eyes roll back.
Yep,
it's the most insane shit.
But it's the good one. She wasn't trying to like hurt no one. She was just trying to make some people lose fat, and she was running a nice spa. But there was some kind of rogue fish taco in the area that was killing people, and that's why Sam and Dean went down there and took care of business.
It annoys me that there's more than one. I don't know why, but it pisses me off.
It's just a group of them. It's like vampires or zombies. There's fish tacos. It's not one. It's not like a Mothman.
It's like a dumb class of vampire, though.
Yeah, instead of blood, it's fat.
Ugh. It's kind of like, I don't know if you ever watched the show What We Do in the Shadows with the vampires, but there's the one vampire where he gets his powers because he feeds off of people's like negative energy. So he just goes around bumming people out all day. It's another dumb class of vampire. Fish taco.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that.
Highly recommend it.
Maybe I'll check it out. Perhaps. But besides the fish taco, so I guess it could be a possibility. More so than the zombies out there, I guess, because there's no really that much proof for the zombies. Their bodies are still a thing. But what could be is the paranormal side of it. It could be their ghosts, their spirits, right, of the dead. So when you go into these towns, especially La Noria, there is a ton of stories of paranormal activity. I'm talking about like there's multiple reports of full body apparitions, shadow figures running around the town day and night. Where visitors they hear footsteps, screams, voices, no one with no one else around, like disembodied voices. Just and there's a huge thing that they see, and everyone talks about it, whether they know each other or not, and they always talk about it kind of the same way. Is the children that are there, of Humberstone and La Noria. They see him in older clothing, and it's not like they're any type of like evil or violent or anything towards them. They say they're just out there playing games. They actually see him in the school a lot, just sitting there. Looks like they're just sitting at the desk, doing school activity without any type of, known that someone else is even there watching them. And there's a ton of reports of this stuff. And Zach Bagans was there.
Bagans went?
Bagans went down there, yeah. And this is how my wife was watching that Ghost Adventures, and that's how when she first heard about this. And I was looked into it a little bit, but yeah. So the locals around, especially in Iquique on the coast, they warn people not to go. They tell them do not go there, and they won't even go at night because they're so afraid of the paranormal activity that happens there. Because apparently there's been a ton of people that also go missing when they go to La Noria to just investigate the paranormal side. They're enthusiasts. They want to see ghosts. And then they go missing. They don't know where the hell they are.
I've heard a lot about, the ghosts of children. Because, if you think about it, the little kids got the biggest raw end of the deal.
Oh, yeah.
If the families moved out there for quote-unquote work, the kids have nothing to do. They just hang out, die.
Yeah. They go to school and die. They're in the heat.
The blistering heat, the middle of the desert, there's no shade.
None. There's no trees. It's just a big desert. The Atacama Desert is just, yeah, it's harsh. It's harsh on these kids. They had swimming pools. They could go for a little dip, but God only knows how the water is. That's what probably led to a lot of disease.
Yeah, a lot of them died. The majority, I would say. Plus that when that fire happened, I heard it destroyed half the town.
Oh, yeah, it's destroyed a lot of the town, which killed a lot of them on top of it, obviously. But, yeah, these ghosts, day and night, people see them all the time. And then they say that it seems like the ghosts are unaware of their presence being there. Just the ghosts are doing their thing, don't even mind the people being there. But, again, other people say, no, people go missing. I guess there might be the kids are probably fine. They don't really want to, do anything. But then maybe there's some other people who are pissed off that their graves were robbed, and that's why they come out of their graves at night, perhaps, and go out and start getting pissed off and fucking maybe killing people. Who knows?
Or the ghosts of cute little children lure travelers in to be victims for the fish taco.
Oh, you're saying they work in cahoots.
They're in cahoots with the fish taco, and then they get the fat sucked out, and then they go back to playing their ghost games, whatever they do. I don't know what ghosts do.
Whatever they do.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know what? It could be right. So, yeah, you got these ghosts, the kids, they're around, or, you have your recorder on, you're picking up EVPs from these kids. You hear the laughter, the talking, whatever's going on. You're like, oh, I want to investigate more. The paranormal investigator goes deeper in. He's by himself because he's, should be in a group, but he's not smart enough to be in a group. He goes by himself looking for more evidence. And then finally the fish taco comes and sucks his fat out, and then he's left there fucked up. Makes sense.
I think we solved this one.
I think we solved. So no zombies, but the fish taco and the ghosts work in cahoots.
They're in cahoots. That's what it is. The zombies is stupid, but yeah, the ghost children.
Now, these kids that tons of kids that have died, do you think mining equipment was safe back then in the 1800s?
In the 1800s, it's mining equipment that was greased by human fat, apparently. So I'm gonna say no. I'm sure there's probably a lot of, mine collapses and, carts going off the rail like you see in movies and people getting crushed by various things, so probably not.
Yeah, so, yeah, maybe the fish tacos, they just want to grease up the old mine equipment. Can maybe get the mine going back. It's what they lived. Maybe the fish taco has been around. Maybe those fish taco were fucking workers. They used to work there. Perhaps.
That, or they also left the town, moved out to California, and named a delicious food item after themselves, the fish taco. Spelled it a little bit different and started their own business. Who knows?
Yeah, so when Bagans went out there, he had some EVPs, he had EMF meters out there, different stuff, and captured a couple different things. Do you think that there's paranormal activity going on in this area? All these, a lot of death.
It's a lot of death. I know I talk a lot of shit, folks, but yeah, I do think that there is definitely something out there on the paranormal side because, like I said, a lot of death. And when there's a lot of death, there's a lot of unfinished business. And when there's unfinished business, there's ghosts everywhere. We've all seen Casper. So, I don't know.
I guess the kids just want to grow up and they just want to do their schoolwork, I guess. But they're just, and it's the worst part for the kids. I mean, it's kind of sad how many children really did lose their lives in this area.
Which also annoys me. I mean, if you're going to move your whole family there, and then the whole family's going to be in that business, why are you making the kids go to school? For what? They don't need to read to mine saltpeter.
Yeah, there's warning signs and...
You think they put up warning signs? Come on.
You don't think they put up warning signs?
Probably it contributed to the many, many deaths.
The wrong signs?
Yeah, or lack of signs.
No, yeah, I do. So I do believe something's on it. There's some kind of energy out there, whether it be, like I said, paranormal, just so much death, so much suffering out there. It causes, certain areas you do feel a certain type of heaviness in this area. And being probably just a gruesome sight to see, even the cemetery out there. I think you're going to see things, whether it be you actually seeing things or your brain tricking you to see things with all that energy. Yeah, I think people do see stuff, the full body apparitions or shadow figures, or they hear things around. It's just remnants of who used to be there. Just their energy still there, and it's just can't go anywhere else. It's just stuck there after this gruesome times, and maybe at some point they'll be able to move on, but right now it's just a nasty area. Completely horrible.
Very nasty. I don't want to go there on vacation.
No, you don't want to go there? You don't want to visit?
I'll visit for like an hour. I feel like you could see it all in an hour.
You think so? I was looking at it on Google Maps. It's actually a pretty big area. But you have to get to it. Like, La Noria is just hard to get to compared to like someone like, you can go to Humberstone. That's it's a lot easier to get to. There's tours, but this area here, this is the one that people like to go to with the cemetery and everything. There's a road in apparently, but it's closed off because there's another mining company that owns that area and closes the road off or something I was reading. So you got to kind of park a vehicle on this one highway, and then you got to walk like 5 kilometers through the freaking scorching heat to get out there. Or you go at night, but then you can't fucking see. You got a flashlight, and then you risk the fish taco attack. So you try to go during the day, but a lot of people say if you're gonna go, you're gonna have to stay the night to get back, just to the way everything is if you want to see stuff.
I'm down.
Yeah,
I'll go.
All right, maybe one day.
I mean, the whole thing's abandoned, so you don't need a tent. You just go into a house and fucking
The
Pass
housing
out.
again, like I was looking at the houses don't have any type of roof anymore.
Oh,
It's just like all like open structures, just walls, and that's about it. And then the cemetery is just open caskets and a shit ton of wooden crosses that are basically just baked in the sun so much that they're basically dry rot. It's a harsh area, and I'm sure during this at night it's still fucking hot.
you camp out in the mine.
Oh god, you trust that?
Yeah,
I
you don't
got
gotta
maybe.
you don't gotta go deep in the mine. You just go like right inside the entrance and be like, well, nap time.
I don't know if I could sleep there.
Were you scared of a fish taco?
I just don't know. Yeah, yeah. And I can't sleep in heat. I have to be cold to sleep.
I don't think the fish taco will come after you though. Not to say you're not delicious, but you're on the thinner side. You're a thin man. I am what I imagine the human version of a Snorlax would look like.
What? You're not that big.
I'm a portly fella.
Yeah. You think the fish taco would take interest to you?
Oh, there's more of me to go around. Anyway,
I guess. So, moving on from this, the paranormal side, we have again, this area is full of all kinds of different stuff. We have what we could consider proof of aliens in this area too. We could start with these desert geoglyphs. Now, there's one. It's called the Atacama Giant. Now, this geoglyph is like 390 meters long. It's a pretty big one. I actually posted it on X. Bigger than those Mayan pyramids. You know, they were what, 80, 90 feet tall? I mean, this thing isn't tall, it's long. It's just, made into the dirt. But it's 390, pretty big. And to be able to construct it the way they did seems it's interesting to me. So these actually date back to 600 AD, around that time, 600 AD, 900 AD. So to me, to make such a huge geoglyph, there's multiple ones, but the Atacama Giant's like one of the main ones, the big one. Why would you want to build something that you can only see from the sky? You know what I mean?
What is it for?
So obviously we didn't have any flying machines at this point. The consensus is that it was used as a calendar, but it's literally like a alien looking person. Like, have you seen the picture? It literally looks like some kind of alien. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about with that's an astrological calendar. It's fucking an alien looking thing. They said like the rays from the head align with lunar phases to predict seasons or something, but it was an alien looking thing.
It looks exactly like a fucking alien.
Yeah, so and the only way to see it is from above. You can't even, like, if you're on the ground, it's hard to tell what the hell the fucking thing looks like unless you're on some mountain or something. So I think it was some kind of like tribute to some type of alien that maybe visited this area in like this, the early AD time, 600 AD, 900 AD, and they made this to show, hey, look, yeah, here's a tribute to you guys for helping us out. Then I guess they made the aliens mad, and that's when they started these mines, and people started to die.
Yeah, because you have those, you have the Nazca lines, which I believe that's Peru. And there's a bunch of geoglyphs there as well. You have all different kinds of pictures. One looks like a giant bird. Mm-hmm. One looks like a straight up like robot thing.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. And all said to be made roughly around the same time period.
Yeah, so why would these group of people want to make these things? To me, it's just like some kind of ancient alien intervention thing, like we've talked about in previous episodes, where humans had interactions with aliens early on, and they were showing some kind of eulogy to these aliens that, hey, yeah, we appreciate you coming. But now we got these, the problem with these geoglyphs is that there's scumbags running around now in off-road vehicles driving through them and fucking them all up. So now they're trying to preserve them. There's been, conservation efforts and organizations that are trying to protect the sites from being destroyed by, schmucks. The Atacama Desert Foundation is one of them.
Yeah. There's the geoglyphs, and they're interesting because it's unknown why they were made. They've never figured out the reason. It's the same thing with crop circles. You don't know the reason. They just appear. I mean, obviously some people make those, but there are some that aren't explained.
Yeah.
And, it's just interesting shit.
I think it's a contribute to some kind of alien, and I think the aliens were visiting this area for a while, and that's why when we move on from these geoglyphs to the big thing that was found in this area, Anna, I think that she is kind of proof that, I mean, as much as the scientific community now wants to say no, because they always like to cover up this stuff, I feel like the alien and UFO thing is a big thing that these governments will try to always cover up, even if it is real. So Anna, or AKA the Atacama alien, she was a little skeleton found in this area in the Atacama Desert. Measures about 6 or 7 inches long. Now, to call it a human is, to me, is extremely hard. First of all, I did post a picture of her on our X page, and I posted on our Instagram. Her skull is extremely elongated, very, pointed out, like you would see an alien in any of these ancient drawings. She has large eye sockets that are also like slanted or tilted, if you will, so that, they're not straight across her head, they're more of at an angle. She only has 10 sets of ribs instead of 12. The typical human has 12 ribs, not 10. To me, it seems like maybe some kind of gray, the little grays, some kind of, I guess, experiment that they could have came down and tried to figure something out with some humans. Now, of course, the scientific community finally comes out. Well, first, she was actually found in a little white box with a violet ribbon. Some person from Spain actually kept her in his private collection, whatever that means. I'm not sure what that means, but kept them in his private collection until it was then moved somehow from someone to someone else, and then they actually let the scientific community examine her. At first, they had no idea what she was, how she came to be. DNA test said about 90% DNA is human. So what's the 10%? Then they kind of came out and said, well, it's because she has a ton of genetic mutations leading to conditions like dwarfism, severe bone aging, congenital disorders, all kinds of stuff. And then that's what it is. But to me, like, maybe all them mutations are not because of just some kind of birth defect, but maybe it was some kind of gray, like I mentioned before, a gray coming down and, trying to interbreed or something. Do you agree with that?
I could agree with that. I'm looking at a picture of, they always say her. I'm looking at a picture of her right now. It's a tiny doll-sized skeleton with Jimmy Neutron head. It's not to be, rude to the corpse, but it's a giant head. And something I read earlier today is that this wasn't the only one that was found. I read that there was actually a couple throughout the desert in the area. Now, either there was one woman who, for lack of a better term, was pushing out duds all over the desert, or aliens.
So you're saying there was more than one of these?
That's what I read.
Okay, so yeah, so if there's more than one, to me, how is it possible that there are so many mutations or birth defects among multiple pregnancies? Was it just one? And then if there's so many, how can you have different women? Because if it's so many, you can't have. It's probably not the same woman over and over and over and over again. How can you have so many different women with the same type of problem, where they all keep producing these same, human fetuses that are completely have complete, mutations and mutated? Without, how is that? The odds of that seem to be extravagant. Like, there's no way. Maybe these mutations were created. You have all these other type of structures and geoglyphs in the area that kind of suggest that maybe an alien visitation. Maybe they're supposed to be there. There was, like we mentioned, what was it, the last episode, alien probing gone wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's some kind of alien probing that went wrong, and it just couldn't grow legs, the lack of a better term, and they just couldn't get it right. The Greys couldn't get it right to have the best of both worlds, and then maybe they just gave up with it, and then it just never turned into anything.
Could you imagine aliens coming down and trying to, procreate with just a Chilean mining town? They must have been terrified.
I mean, I would probably be terrified too if they don't know what's going on. But I mean, it kind of makes sense to be an ideal area. It was very isolated, so it's not going to be like full exposure, right? If you wanted to pick something to start trying this, you wouldn't want to go to this like a city center where a shit ton of people are going to see what's going on. You'd want to go to a more of an isolated area and see what you can do.
That's fair.
That's how I feel. So you'd want to go in there. You want to just kind of let's start picking and choosing, see if we can get and it's not like they're probably actually procreating. You probably abducted them and had them on the ship, and then tried to do some kind of genetic gene, whatever you want to call it, freaking splicing or whatever you want to, and have some of their genes, some of our genes intertwine, and see if they can produce something.
And the other thing that slightly annoys me is you said it was a guy from, was it Spain that found her?
Yeah, I don't know if he found her, but he somehow had her in his quote unquote private collection. And then this one, Anna. I don't know what the other ones' names are, if they have, but this is the main one that they focused on, and they said it is a female based on DNA testing. But yeah, he just somehow had her in his private collection for years.
See, that's what annoys me. So someone found, presumably, the corpse of a child, and we're like, you know what? This would look great in my collection.
I don't understand it either. I really don't get it. Let's see if I can find his name. The Spaniard.
Because I'm looking at all the pictures, and it's all the same. Her on the table, and they're just they're wearing white gloves, which is fine, but they're just holding their big head like it's nothing. It's rude. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I would think so. There really isn't much on him. It's just that he took her, and it was in his collection forever, and somehow it left his collection, and finally got to the scientific community, and they said it was, at first they were baffled. They have no idea what it was, what this was, couldn't figure it out, and then they finally, years later, came out with, we can't have people talk about aliens because that's what they're doing, so now we have to make something up to try to convince people that it isn't aliens, and the aliens are, not real, so we're going to say it's skeletal dysplasia, it's extreme dwarfism, it's severe bone aging, it's congenital disorders. 10% of the DNA doesn't match a human, but that doesn't matter. And
you look right over that, just glaze over it.
That don't matter. It's a human. But then you got other doctors that have come out and said all these things still don't explain everything that's wrong with Anna here. There's something else going on. It doesn't make sense. This is not a straight up human. But then those scientists get told to go stick it. You're wrong. It's just a human fetus at 15 weeks gestation with all these the shit ton of medical conditions, and we leave it at that. Even though there's multiple ones, as you suggested. So, to me, I don't know.
Just to have it in your I'm sorry I keep harping on this, but like, do you think his like house guests would come over for dinner and he's showing off his collection? Like, yes, this is a great buck that I hunted, and this is some ancient pottery, and there's a corpse I found of a small child in the desert that I just picked up and left on the table. Like, no one questioned like his.
There's like nothing really about him, so I don't know how it even left his possession. So I can't find much on it. So somehow it was in his possession, then it was no longer in his possession, and I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's just it makes no sense.
It left his possession, hopefully due to a search warrant, but
That's what I'm thinking.
Christ's sake.
I think it was found in like the 70s. Not until 2018 did they finally come out and say there was a human fetus with a rare combination of genetic mutations. It's not an alien. They made a whole thing about it. The genome research by Nolan, whatever the hell, wrote in his journal. But there's so many mutations that apparently all happened at once. I don't know how. What are the odds that there'd be this many mutations at once?
Astronomical.
It seems astronomical. It's almost like it's easier just to say, "Oh yeah, it was a little gray alien. Came down."
It would be, but at the same time, if you want people to stop snooping around and asking questions, you just have to say it has hundreds of mutations and issues, and people will just give up and be like, "Oh, that's okay, that's annoying." And they'll stop questioning because they're not going to be like, "All right, well, what's each one? What mutations and shit does it have?"
Yeah, no one wants to go out and do anything else. They just get spoon-fed this crap and they'll just believe it. We've known that cover-ups have been going on for a long time, and they just push it. So it's up to people like us to continue to try to spread the other information that they're going to call disinformation or misinformation. It's even Grok on X, the AI, calls it misinformation if you say it's an alien. They're real quick to say that. But what gets me is that, so going back to even our other episode, so these cave drawings all show like that elongated head, right? And those eyes that are, enlarged, but then slightly, turned, so they're not perfectly that almond shape that's not perfectly straight. So I think they drew this because they saw it. They drew fucking cows on the wall or whatever, some kind of bovine, buffalo, whatever. They draw it on the cave wall because they see it. So why is all those things allowed to be seen and then drawn, but then when they draw these aliens with these elongated heads, it's not. It's something else. They didn't see it. You know what I'm getting at? So then this thing has the same head. That same head they've been drawing on cave walls for centuries or millennia is this. So you're saying all those people back then were just seeing these mutations in a person and they drew it on a wall?
And why haven't we seen that many mutations since? Like, yes, there are people that are, they have deformities, which is fine, but no one has hundreds at once.
Yeah, this thing's for this to all, there's doctors that literally say for this to happen, there's a ton of mutations, and then they still say it doesn't necessarily explain everything that is wrong. Just looking at it, the rib thing, they don't it's just how why is there less ribs?
It's aliens.
I think to me, I love a good alien story, and I think some kind of, like I said before, some kind of little gray alien interbreeding, DNA exchange, DNA splicing going on.
Yeah, it's like an ET story, but he doesn't make it home. Aw.
You don't make it home, bruh. So, asking Grok himself, the AI, the 10 rib thing is not a direct outcome of dwarfism. So, these 10 ribs, again, it's a huge. That's some kind of huge thing that they're trying to cover up with all these different things. But, like, even Grok says that 10 ribs is not a common or direct outcome of dwarfism. And 11 ribs, 11 sets of ribs is usually what happens, but having 10 is not something that happens with dwarfism. So I guess that bottom one that doesn't come all the way across, that set, I guess it didn't have, maybe. I'm not sure how it goes exactly, but again, like even Grok's pointing out, like 10 ribs, bro. It's not, it doesn't seem right. And everything else too, the fucking head, the eyes, the hand, you see the hands and the feet, everything just doesn't look right. The nose is even like you know that the little slits, like the aliens. They always show the aliens drawings, the little slits.
Mm.
That's what I see.
Yeah, just she ain't got no kneecaps, bro.
So, I think there's a cover up going on here. There's a lot going on out in the Atacama Desert. We got, you know, fish tacos. We got ghosts. We got apparent zombies. But I think the alien visitations is the biggest thing going on out there.
I feel like it would make the most sense. If anything, I feel like that would make the most sense.
Yeah, and those like alien visitations, I guess, could explain also some paranormal activity. If they see something that they don't know, but it's actually, you know, some kind of alien activity.
Could be. Or it could just be assholes that live in the desert that rob travelers and hide out there.
Could be. Not fish taco?
Maybe a little fish taco. Maybe a little.
But yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, I still would not want to be in this area at night. I don't care what anyone says.
Not at night. I mean, don't be in any desert at night. That's just a good rule of thumb, I feel.
But yeah, like going back, just looking at it, like if you watch the Ghost Adventures episode with Zach Bagans going here, it is an eerie place to be during the day, during the night, even through the TV. It just has a weight to it that you can feel that there's that it's just not a good area. Not a lot of bad things happened, and being there must give you some weird feelings.
I say this every single week. I want to go check it out, but I'm not gonna go to Chile. I don't care enough. But
I'd love to be able to check it out, but yeah, I don't. I'd have to. I don't know if I could. Like, compared to you, I guess you're tougher. I'm a bitch when it comes to that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I'm surprised you haven't brought up fighting the fish taco yet.
You know, I was getting to that. I was just trying to think of how I would do it. Well, is he just a dude who just kills people and sucks out their fat, or does it like a monster thing? Because he sounds like me.
So I guess it's just a pale white guy with a beard, and then they have this like fat sucker that comes out of their mouth, and that's pretty much what they are.
It just sounds so punchable. I feel like if I were able to get in close with some duct tape and just cover the mouth real quick, and then just start swinging, I think I'd have a shot.
You think you could take it out?
You cover up the sucker, and then you sucker punch. Fish taco down.
I guess. Maybe. But, yeah. See, places like this, my wife wouldn't really want me to go because she doesn't want me to bring anything, like some type of energy home with me to disrupt the energy that's already in the house. And I mean, I understand where she's coming from, so maybe not. But I mean, I do want to go to certain ghost places, like we discussed in our paranormal episode. I know you want to go to Fort Mifflin.
Yes.
To see some ghosts, if you want to see shadow figures, and it's a lot closer than going to Chile. to this desert, which is probably gonna like people. I mean, and whatever you believe is going on out there, people do go missing and they don't come back.
I mean, to be fair, people go missing in Newark. I mean, you go missing anywhere, but
Yeah, yeah, but some you. I mean, you probably have a better chance of being found. I mean, dead, but found in Newark than in this desert.
yeah, but if I'm killed by the fish taco, at least I'll be found skinny. So,
Like, oh look, there's this really fit guy we found over here dead in the desert.
yeah, they found the corpse of Josh, but God, does he look good? Fuck, it's so stupid.
Oh well, so at the end of the day, if there's a lot more research you can do here. You can watch Zach Bagan's episode on it if you're interested in this place. It is a very interesting place. I know we probably could have got into a lot more different things, but yeah, definitely haunted, and I 100% think there are alien encounters in this area.
Look, that little thing is not a deformed human. I'm sorry. I'll die on this hill. It's not a human. It's an alien.
No, the government doesn't want you to know that.
Government's an asshole. I don't know.
All the world government, the one world government does not want you to know that there's alien shit. For
Not
whatever
yet.
reason, they're hiding it from us. They just keep dropping these little itsy bitsy like bits, like, oh, we have UFOs on Navy ship cameras or Navy airplane cameras and stuff, and some pilots have talked about it, but that's all we're going to release. We don't want anyone else to know anything else. And it is kind of annoying. I mean, I want alien disclosure. I want UFO disclosure. Tell me if there's fucking aliens. Tell me if there's fucking UFOs. I need to know.
I swear to God, if I'm not going to live to then, but if I get to like age 60 and then they come out and tell me, oh, by the way, aliens are real, I'm going to be livid. Tell me now.
That we need to know. Aliens. So, the next recording, Josh, I know we said this last week, we said the week before we're going to do twice a week. And this time, like, oh, okay, I said it last time, I meant it, but this time we definitely have to mean it. Our next episode, which we'll record in a few days, where are we going?
I say we discuss the Titanic.
We hit the high seas.
We hit the high seas and then we sink.
Did the Titanic hit an iceberg?
No.
I don't think it did either. I don't think this ship was down by an iceberg. I think there was a lot of very important people on this ship, and they were killed. I think it was just a go on, take them all out type of thing.
That's what I think. So I think that as well. And also, one woman we will discuss, was she the bringer of destruction, or did she just have the worst luck in human history?
Was she like a Mothman? Was she just like a bearer of bad news to come? Because she was on all three of the sister ships. The Titanic, the Britannic, and the Olympic. She was on Titanic when it went down. She was on the Britannic when it went down. That was in a war. That was by the Germans. And the other one, when it was severely damaged, she was on it. So she was on all three. Now, the thing that I was looking at, the only difference between the Titanic and the Britannic is that her forward upper deck being closed on the Titanic and open on the Britannic. And we'll have to get into the end in the next episode. But when you see pictures later on of the Titanic, or the Britannic, I'm sorry, it has closed rooms forward. So that would make it seem like that was the Titanic. But yeah, we'll talk about all this on our next recording because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with this Titanic.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, plus a hit motion picture. So maybe we'll discuss that as well. If you guys want. I don't know.
They like when we talk about movies, especially the last movie we talked about. Too bad it wasn't a movie about this, the Atacama Alien.
I'd watch it, but like, how much can you go into it? I mean, if you could make something out of it, but
Well, the whole thing, the whole just the living condition, the desert. Maybe we would have talked about that movie, but the Titanic, is it better than Devil's Pass movie?
is the Titanic better?
Yes.
Wasn't it like one of the highest grossing movies in history?
Yeah,
You
but I'm
think-
asking you. I'm asking you if you think it was better.
No. No, I don't.
Devil's Pass was better.
Devil's Pass surpasses Titanic.
I mean, it's two different types of movies though, so we can't really.
Yeah,
Compare
one
'em.
good, one horrible.
We got a horror movie and a comedy. You can't compare the two movies.
That's another thing. When we do discuss this, the world is going to see just how insensitive you and I both are.
It's fine because the movie's completely wrong. It's fake. It's infactual. It has nothing to do with the actual Titanic.
The only thing it got right is that it sank.
Did it sink? That might not even be right.
We'll get into it.
We'll get into that. So, coming up, and do we bring up the update on the Call of Duty episode, or we just we're done with that?
So our Call of Duty expert got a new microphone. Has it been taken out of its box yet? I highly doubt it.
If you want to if you actually want to hear the Call of Duty episode, just leave a comment on Spotify or X, yes or no. Maybe we'll do it. If you don't want to do it, we won't do it. I mean, it is interesting getting into it, but if you want to hear it, we can.
Yeah. We'll leave it up to them because I still laugh that we did record the episode, but it was just unusable.
Yes. So, all right. So we'll see you guys in a couple days with the Titanic, and be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Yes.